The soft, warm air of a summer night lingered across the vast, hushed landscape of northern Botswana in 1981. A gentle stillness settled over the quiet, sandy rise, where the last traces of day's heat slowly diffused into the cool, dark expanse. Above, an endless canopy of stars spread across the deep velvet sky, each tiny light a distant, silent comfort. The moon, a broad, luminous disk, cast its silver glow over a wide floodplain stretching out below, transforming the distant water into a shimmering, serene mirror. This was a time of deep rest for much of the world, a period when the earth itself seemed to breathe in soft, measured pulses beneath the watchful gaze of the celestial sphere. Here, in this tranquil expanse, a solitary elephant began its slow, deliberate journey. Its massive form moved with an inherent grace, each step a deep, grounded rhythm against the yielding sand. The creature was an adult, strong and settled, its presence a quiet testament to the enduring peace of the wild savannah. There was no haste in its movement, only a steady, unhurried progression that seemed to melt into the natural flow of the night. The elephant's thick skin, a mosaic of ancient wrinkles and resilient hide, absorbed the lingering warmth from the ground, a subtle comfort in the cooling air. A soft, distant chorus of insects hummed from the dense vegetation bordering the floodplain, a continuous, low murmur that became a gentle lullaby for the silent wilderness. This ambient sound wove itself into the fabric of the night, never intrusive, always present, reinforcing the vast, expansive calm. The air itself carried faint whispers of the day's journey, the lingering scent of sun-baked earth and dry grasses, now subtly softened by the rising moisture from the distant water. The elephant's broad, sensitive ears, like ancient weathered maps, subtly shifted, catching the most delicate currents of sound and air. With each deep, powerful stride, a subtle vibration passed through the earth, a soft, heavy cadence that spoke of ancient paths and timeless routines. These were peaceful footsteps, leaving imprints in the moonlit dust that would soon be smoothed by the soft night breeze. The elephant's gentle trunk swayed with a slow, hypnotic rhythm, a living extension of its senses, lightly brushing against unseen elements, ever alert to the nuanced tapestry of the night. It moved with an unwavering calm, its destination known only to itself, yet the path felt safe and sure. The journey was less about arrival and more about the quiet experience of movement itself. The elephant paused for a long, quiet moment at the crest of the sandy rise, its great frame silhouette against the bright, star-strewn sky. Its trunk lifted slowly, discerning faint, moist scents drifting across the moon-silvered floodplain below. These were fragrances of water and verdant growth, carried on the gentle night currents, promising sustenance and a continuation of the stable, predictable rhythms of life. The air felt clean and vast, filled with the simple, profound breath of the night. The floodplain was a mosaic of quiet pools and shallow channels, each one a mirror reflecting the countless stars above. The elephant's deep, knowing eyes, accustomed to the dim light, observed these shimmering reflections, tiny points of light brought down to earth. The sight was deeply peaceful, a silent dance of light and shadow, reminding one of the expansive, unchanging beauty of the night sky. There was a profound stillness in this observation, a moment of connection with the ancient patterns of the world. As the elephant continued its slow, steady descent from the sandy rise, the ground beneath its feet shifted from dry, loose grains to a firmer, compacted earth closer to the water's edge. The change in texture was subtle, yet distinct, a quiet reassurance of the evolving landscape. The lingering warmth of the day had finally given way to the gentle coolness of the deep night, a refreshing embrace that settled upon the land. The sounds of the distant insect chorus seemed to grow ever so slightly more distinct, weaving a more intricate pattern into the silent fabric of the night. The elephant's presence was a moving island of calm in the vastness. It neither hurried nor hesitated, merely existed in the flow of time and space. The quiet air enveloped it like a soft blanket, carrying the promise of a peaceful journey onward. The sense of stability was profound, emanating from the very ground, from the unhurried pace and from the deep internal calm of the magnificent creature. The path ahead was veiled in soft mystery, yet held no threat, only the quiet invitation of the unfolding night. Each step was a quiet meditation, a gentle rhythm that eased the senses into a state of profound relaxation. The moon continued its silent vigil, guiding the elephant through the open plains of the northern Botswana summer, promising only continuous, predictable peace. The journey was just beginning, a slow, gentle drift into the deep, quiet hours. The earth itself seemed to sigh with contentment as the elephant steadily advanced, leaving behind the sandy rise, moving toward the soft whispers of reed shadows in the distance. The soft, warm air of a summer night lingered across the vast, hushed landscape of northern Botswana in 1981. A gentle stillness settled over the quiet sandy rise, where the last traces of day's heat slowly diffused into the cool, dark expanse. Above, an endless canopy of stars spread across the deep velvet sky, each tiny light a distant, silent comfort. The moon, a broad, luminous disk, cast its silver glow over a wide floodplain stretching out below, transforming the distant water into a shimmering, serene mirror. This was a time of deep rest for much of the world, a period when the earth itself seemed to breathe in soft, measured pulses beneath the watchful gaze of the celestial sphere. Here, in this tranquil expanse, a solitary elephant began its slow, deliberate journey. Its massive form moved with an inherent grace, each step a deep, grounded rhythm against the yielding sand. The creature was an adult, strong and settled, its presence a quiet testament to the enduring peace of the wild savannah. There was no haste in its movement, only a steady, unhurried progression that seemed to melt into the natural flow of the night. The elephant's thick skin, a mosaic of ancient wrinkles and resilient hide, absorbed the lingering warmth from the ground, a subtle comfort in the cooling air. A soft, distant chorus of insects hummed from the dense vegetation bordering the floodplain, a continuous, low murmur that became a gentle lullaby for the silent wilderness. This ambient sound wove itself into the fabric of the night, never intrusive, always present, reinforcing the vast, expansive calm. The air itself carried faint whispers of the day's journey, the lingering scent of sun-baked earth and dry grasses, now subtly softened by the rising moisture from the distant water. The elephant's broad, sensitive ears, like ancient weathered maps, subtly shifted, catching the most delicate currents of sound and air. With each deep, powerful stride, a subtle vibration passed through the earth, a soft, heavy cadence that spoke of ancient paths and timeless routines. These were peaceful footsteps, leaving imprints in the moonlit dust that would soon be smoothed by the soft night breeze. The elephant's gentle trunk swayed with a slow, hypnotic rhythm, a living extension of its senses, lightly brushing against unseen elements, ever alert to the nuanced tapestry of the night. It moved with an unwavering calm, its destination known only to itself, yet the path felt safe and sure. The journey was less about arrival and more about the quiet experience of movement itself. The elephant paused for a long, quiet moment at the crest of the sandy rise, its great frame silhouetted against the bright, star-strewn sky. Its trunk lifted slowly, discerning faint, moist scents drifting across the moon-silvered floodplain below. These were fragrances of water and verdant growth, carried on the gentle night currents, promising sustenance and a continuation of the stable, predictable rhythms of life. The air felt clean and vast, filled with the simple, profound breath of the night. The floodplain was a mosaic of quiet pools and shallow channels, each one a mirror reflecting the countless stars above. The elephant's deep, knowing eyes, accustomed to the dim light, observed these shimmering reflections, tiny points of light brought down to earth. The sight was deeply peaceful, a silent dance of light and shadow, reminding one of the expansive, unchanging beauty of the night sky. There was a profound stillness in this observation, a moment of connection with the ancient patterns of the world. As the elephant continued its slow, steady descent from the sandy rise, the ground beneath its feet shifted from dry, loose grains to a firmer, compacted earth closer to the water's edge. The change in texture was subtle yet distinct, a quiet reassurance of the evolving landscape. The lingering warmth of the day had finally given way to the gentle coolness of the deep night, a refreshing embrace that settled upon the land. The sounds of the distant insect chorus seemed to grow ever so slightly more distinct, weaving a more intricate pattern into the silent fabric of the night. The elephant's presence was a moving island of calm in the vastness. It neither hurried nor hesitated, merely existed in the flow of time and space. The quiet air enveloped it like a soft blanket, carrying the promise of a peaceful journey onward. The sense of stability was profound, emanating from the very ground, from the unhurried pace, and from the deep internal calm of the magnificent creature. The path ahead was veiled in soft mystery, yet held no threat, only the quiet invitation of the unfolding night. Each step was a quiet meditation, a gentle rhythm that eased the senses into a state of profound relaxation. The moon continued its silent vigil, guiding the elephant through the open plains of the northern Botswana summer, promising only continuous, predictable peace. The journey was just beginning, a slow, gentle drift into the deep, quiet hours. The earth itself seemed to sigh with contentment as the elephant steadily advanced, leaving behind the sandy rise, moving toward the soft whispers of reed shadows in the distance. Chapter 2. Moving with a quiet grace from the gentle sandy rise, the great elephant stepped down into a new world, a passage woven from tall, resilient reeds. The fading moonlight, now softer and more diffused, filtered through the slender stalks, creating long, shifting shadows that danced upon the damp earth below. Each massive footfall was placed with deliberation, a rhythmic cadence that resonated deeply with the stillness of the late summer night. The air here, held close by the dense vegetation, felt slightly cooler, a refreshing contrast to the warmth that lingered on the open plain. A soft, continuous rustling began to surround the elephant, a natural lullaby composed of countless whispers. It was the sound of the reeds themselves, swaying gently in an almost imperceptible breeze, brushing against one another with a delicate, papery murmur. This quiet music enveloped the narrow passage, creating a comforting cocoon of sound. The elephant's broad ears, slowly flapping, caught these intricate whispers, allowing the nuances of the environment to become a part of its silent journey. The scent of fresh water and growing things, a gentle moisture from the hidden channel, drifted through the air, layering over the dry, earthy notes of the savannah. It was a clean, cool fragrance that offered a peaceful invitation deeper into the reed corridor. Below, in the hidden channel, small, subtle ripples spread across the water's surface. They moved outward from unseen disturbances, perhaps a quiet fish shifting beneath the surface, or a nocturnal creature stirring softly at the water's edge. These ripples caught the last pale gleam of moonlight, turning the water into a shimmering tapestry of fleeting light. The elephant, moving slowly and steadily, sensed these minute movements, an unspoken communication from the unseen life that shared this tranquil space. The feeling of safety was pervasive, a deep comfort woven into the very fabric of the night. The ground beneath the elephant's colossal feet changed with each forward step. The sandy path of the rise had given way to a softer, more yielding surface, a blend of damp soil and the crushed stems of reeds. The textures were varied, offering a new sensation with every placement of its padded foot. Each slow, deliberate step created a minimal disturbance, a gentle pushing aside of the vegetation, which then slowly sprang back into place. This steady progress, marked by an unhurried pace, allowed for a complete immersion in the immediate surroundings. Layered sounds continued to blend into a peaceful rhythm around the elephant. The constant, soft rustle of the reeds formed a base, upon which rested the occasional, delicate splash from the channel. Distant, sleepy chirps from insects added a high, faint harmony, completing the nocturnal symphony. The air itself seemed to carry these sounds with a particular clarity in the quiet night. The elephant continued, its awareness keen but calm, taking in the myriad small details that made up this unique passage. With each unhurried movement, the elephant felt a gentle progression deeper into the reed-lined path. The fading moonlight, which had initially illuminated the entrance, now softened further, hinting at the advance of the deeper hours before dawn. Yet there was no sense of urgency, only a tranquil sense of discovery. The path ahead remained veiled in a soft mystery, inviting the elephant to continue its calm exploration. The cool breath of the night became more noticeable, a subtle chill that spoke of the approaching change. The tall reeds created an enclosed world, a natural tunnel where the elephant moved with quiet assurance. Their stems, thick and pliable, brushed against its flanks, a soft, reassuring contact that spoke of the living landscape. The very air within this passage felt different, sheltered from any passing breeze, holding the distinct aroma of damp earth and the sweetish scent of aquatic plants. This rich tapestry of sensory input provided a peaceful and stable environment for the elephant's journey. The elephant paused, its swaying gentle trunk lifting slightly, sampling the air once more. The fresh scents from the hidden channel were distinct, carrying the promise of water. It drew in the cool, moist air, a slow and deep breath that resonated with the surrounding stillness. The broad ears tilted, listening to the delicate sounds of the water moving slowly, patiently, towards some unseen destination. This quiet moment of rest allowed the layers of sound and scent to fully register, adding to the pervasive feeling of comfort. The journey through the whispering reeds felt timeless, a continuous flow through the heart of the summer night. The rhythmic swaying of the tall stalks, the soft, repetitive sounds, and the consistent coolness of the air all contributed to a profound sense of calm. The world beyond the reeds seemed to fade, replaced by this intimate, gentle corridor. The elephant's slow, steady footsteps continued, a reassuring beat within the silent nature of the advancing night. The movement itself became a form of peaceful meditation, a steady onward journey guided by instinct and the subtle changes of the environment. As the path continued, the moonlight almost imperceptibly dimmed further, giving way to a profound, velvety darkness. Yet a soft glow remained, a memory of the moon's presence, making the outlines of the reeds appear as dark, comforting silhouettes. The sounds intensified in the deepening quietude, each rustle and ripple taking on a more pronounced clarity. The elephant felt the slight compression of damp soil underfoot, a firm and supportive pathway through the peaceful wilderness. This sense of stability grounded its journey, ensuring its progress was both gentle and sure. The corridor of reeds seemed to stretch onward, a continuous passage leading toward the quiet unknowns of the approaching dawn. The elephant continued its exploration, its senses attuned to every subtle shift in its surroundings. The air grew stiller, and the gentle night ambience became almost palpable, a blanket of peace settling over the landscape. The elephant's calm breathing continued, a steady rhythm that harmonized with the quiet pulse of the night. It moved with an innate wisdom, following the ancient trails, a truly magnificent creature at one with its serene environment. The deep relaxation that permeated this passage promised an even deeper peace just beyond the swaying, whispering shadows. Chapter 3. The elephant moved through the last strands of rustling reeds, their soft whispers fading behind its broad form. A new openness unfolded before it, revealing a secluded lagoon, vast and still beneath the deep summer night. The fading moonlight, a silvery memory, now surrendered its gentle glow to the countless stars that emerged with breathtaking clarity. These distant pinpricks of light gleamed in the still pools, each reflection a tiny, unwavering point of silent peace on the dark surface. The lagoon became a mirror, holding the entire celestial expanse in its tranquil embrace. A subtle, cool breath of air drifted across the water, carrying the fresh, earthy smell of damp soil, interwoven with the delicate, sweet fragrance of aquatic plants. Water lilies, their petals like pale, folded secrets, rested upon the surface. Their wide, flat leaves formed quiet platforms that moved with an almost imperceptible sway, cradled by the warm summer darkness that settled like a comforting blanket over the serene landscape. Everything felt hushed, steeped in a profound stillness. The elephant approached the water's edge with deliberate grace, its massive body a dark, unhurried silhouette against the soft shimmer of the lagoon. Its long, sensitive trunk extended, curling softly to touch the cool, smooth water. The touch was gentle, an exploratory gesture before lowering its head. The clear liquid, undisturbed and inviting, was drawn in with a slow, deep draft. This act of drinking was unhurried, a prolonged moment of satisfaction that resonated with the peaceful rhythm of the night. Each swallow was a quiet assertion of contentment and rest. As it drank, a quiet curiosity seemed to settle upon the elephant. Its gaze, though largely unseen in the shadows, lingered on the hidden life beneath the surface. Subtle movements, almost imperceptible, rippled through the reflections. Small fish, their scales catching fleeting starlight, darted and paused among the submerged vegetation, their silent dances creating barely a ripple on the perfectly mirrored sky. The elephant's calm presence did not disturb them. Instead, a sense of shared nocturnal comfort seemed to envelop the quiet scene. The broad ears, usually in a state of gentle, rhythmic flapping, remained momentarily still, absorbing the layered quietness. The air around the lagoon held a distinct coolness, a refreshing contrast to the lingering warmth of the surrounding land. This secluded sanctuary felt like a profound haven, a place of stable, uninterrupted rest and gentle observation. After its long, deeply satisfying drink, the elephant slowly raised its head. A few droplets clung to its lower lip, glistening briefly before dissolving back into the comforting darkness. It did not immediately move away from the water but chose to linger, seemingly held by the meditative mood that permeated the lagoon. Its grand form stood almost unmoving, a silent sentinel etched against the deep velvety sky. The reflections of the stars were so vivid they created an illusion of another sky, a luminous twin beneath the water's surface. The water lilies, almost luminous in the soft moonlight, contributed to this ethereal panorama. Their presence suggested a quiet endurance, a constant cycle of gentle life and peaceful being within this hidden corner of the vast savannah. The night deepened further, yet the darkness here was not empty or vast. Instead, it felt rich with unseen life and soft, subtle sounds. The distant call of a nightbird, a faint, rhythmic chirp of a cricket, all seemed to float on the air, their gentle melodies absorbed and cushioned by the overwhelming quietness of the water. The elephant continued to breathe slowly, its immense chest rising and falling with an even, peaceful rhythm, a testament to deep relaxation. There was no haste in its posture, no urgency in its quiet observations. The world around it felt stable and immensely safe, a comforting expanse under the steadfast watch of the stars. The elephant might have been dozing near the water, its senses alert yet profoundly relaxed, quietly absorbing the slow progression of the hours. The cool, soft ground beneath its enormous feet provided a firm, solid foundation for its period of rest. The air, though still holding the warmth from the departed sun, was now infused with a pristine freshness drawn from the water, a clean, subtle scent that brought a sense of quiet renewal. This lagoon, a tranquil, untouched jewel nestled within the summer landscape of Botswana, offered a profound sense of natural harmony. It stood there, a grand, silent silhouette framed by the gentle night, observing without judgment, simply existing in the quiet flow of timeless moments. The soft mystery of the deep hours before dawn began its slow, unhurried approach, though its first pale hints were still distant, veiled by the comforting embrace of the deep darkness. The elephant shifted its weight slightly, a slow, deliberate movement that stirred no dust, created no sound beyond a deep, soft sigh. The stillness of the water remained unbroken, its surface a perfect canvas for the ongoing celestial display above. The water lilies continued their gentle, almost imperceptible drift, solid anchors of peace in the dark, expansive quiet. This extended period of quiet rest by the lagoon was a profound pause, a moment of perfect balance within the elephant's steady journey. It was a time for calm breathing, for the quiet mind to simply absorb the deep serenity of its surroundings. The profound comfort of the undisturbed night wrapped around the ancient creature, a silent promise of enduring peace. The world seemed to hold its breath, waiting gently, for the next phase of the eternal cycle. The stars, countless and steadfast, continued their silent watch, casting their soft glow upon the tranquil scene, guiding the elephant through its quiet exploration of the summer night, enveloped by the peaceful night ambience. The elephant, truly at rest, stood quietly, its enormous presence a testament to the stability of the nocturnal world. Chapter 4. Leaving the calm embrace of the secluded lagoon, the elephant began its slow ascent toward higher ground. Each immense foot lifted and settled with a soft, deliberate rhythm against the solid earth. The journey led away from the still pools and floating water lilies, guiding the gentle creature upwards onto a rising clay embankment. This elevated path offered a new perspective, a vast panorama of distant wetlands that stretched out quietly into the lingering summer night. The velvet canvas of the sky overhead, once peppered with countless bright stars, had begun its subtle transformation. Those tiny distant points of light now seemed to dim, their brilliance softening as a faint luminescence gathered along the eastern horizon. It was a change so gradual, so deeply peaceful, that it felt less like an event and more like a slow, breathing awakening of the world. The deep, inky blackness that had enveloped the lagoon slowly began to recede, yielding to a softer, almost imperceptible gray. Warm summer breezes, carrying the memory of the day's heat, drifted gently across the expansive, open wetlands below. These currents of air carried faint fragrances. The fresh, earthy smell of damp soil mingled with the sweeter, more subtle perfume of distant grass. The elephant's broad ears, slowly flapping, caught these delicate scents, adding another layer to its peaceful journey through the transitioning night. The air felt comforting, a warm blanket slowly beginning to cool. The mighty creature paused frequently upon the clay embankment, its large body a still silhouette against the subtly shifting backdrop of the sky. Its attention, so perfectly attuned to the rhythms of its world, seemed to observe the changing colors in the eastern sky. A whisper of rose, a hint of soft amethyst, began to paint itself across the horizon, a promise of the light to come. There was no urgency in this quiet anticipation, only a deep sense of unfolding. Beneath the elephant's slow, steady footsteps, the clay felt firm and ancient, a testament to countless dawns witnessed from this very spot. The ground gently sloped, providing a stable foundation as the world prepared for the sun's return. This quiet place, high above the sleeping lowlands, felt like a sanctuary, a secure space from which to observe the profound shift between night and morning. The elephant remained perfectly calm, its presence a monument to the quiet stillness of the pre-dawn hours. The vastness of the distant wetlands unfolded like a soft tapestry below, still mostly veiled in shadows, but now touched by the very first, almost invisible strokes of light. The elephant sensed this transition between night and morning not just through sight, but through every gentle vibration carried on the air, every subtle change in temperature, every fading echo of nocturnal sounds. The chorus of night insects, once vibrant, now softened into a quieter hum, blending into the rising melodies of early morning. A deep sense of rest pervaded the atmosphere, emphasizing the quiet anticipation of sunrise. It was a calm waiting, a peaceful pause before the full light arrived. Time itself seemed to slow, expanding to accommodate the quiet grandeur of this cosmic shift. Each moment unfolded deliberately, offering comfort in its predictability and its gentle, unwavering progression. The world was preparing to greet the day, and the elephant, with its quiet presence, was a part of that preparation. The fading stars above shimmered with a final muted glow before yielding completely to the encroaching light. The air, though still warm from the long summer night, carried a refreshing coolness that hinted at the coming dawn. This gentle shift in temperature was another subtle reassurance, a natural signal of the day's approach. The elephant felt the soft warmth of the breeze, a comforting presence in the silent landscape. From its elevated position, the elephant could truly absorb the peaceful quietude of the land. There were no sudden movements, no jarring sounds, only the harmonious blend of fading darkness and emerging light. The entire experience was imbued with a sense of stability and reassurance. This was a familiar cycle, a timeless dance of sun and shadow, observed by generations of elephants from such quiet, elevated vantage points. The distant wetlands, slowly revealing their intricate patterns as light grew, appeared peaceful and undisturbed. The elephant remained still, allowing the gentle light to wash over its mighty form, absorbing the calm energy of the dawning world. The transition was a gentle unfolding, a soft revealing, offering profound comfort in its slow, deliberate pace. Every breath of the summer morning felt like a quiet invitation to the next phase of the day, a seamless continuation of the peaceful journey. Chapter 5. The faint, ethereal light that had begun to soften the eastern sky, now transformed with a quiet grace, painting the distant horizon in delicate shades of apricot and rose. A golden breath of dawn slowly expanded, reaching across the vast expanse of the northern Botswana landscape. From its elevated position, the elephant watched this gentle unfolding, feeling the last vestiges of the cool night air give way to a promising warmth. Below, a broad grass basin, hidden from the direct paths of moonlight, now revealed itself, shimmering with an extraordinary quiet beauty. Each blade of grass, slender and verdant, held tiny, perfect spheres of dew, collected during the tranquil summer hours of darkness. As the sun's first true rays, soft and hesitant, stretched over the land, they caught these myriad drops, turning the entire basin into a field of subtle, sparkling lights. The elephant began its slow descent from the clay embankment, its large, steady footsteps moving with a familiar, unhurried rhythm. The ground felt firm beneath its heavy pads, a comforting transition from the looser soil of the higher ridge. With each deliberate step, the elephant moved closer to the basin, drawn by the serene spectacle of the awakening world. The very edge of the grass basin offered a quiet invitation. The elephant paused, its trunk curling softly, sensing the shift in the air, a subtle coolness rising from the dewy depths. A deep, peaceful quiet still held court, though a few faint, soft calls began to emerge from unseen birds nestled within distant thickets. These sounds were not sudden or jarring. Instead, they were gentle whispers, adding another layer to the serene ambience, a slow, melodic stirring of life. Then, with a calm certainty, the elephant stepped into the dew-covered grass. The sensation was immediate and distinct. The thousands of tiny water droplets, cool and refreshing, brushed against its sturdy feet and the lower parts of its powerful legs. It was a novel feeling after the dry earth and the smooth surfaces of the lagoon from the night before. Each step pressed down the delicate blades, releasing a fresh, earthy scent of damp vegetation and rich soil that rose into the warming air. This fragrance was clean and invigorating, yet remained entirely peaceful, an essence of the quiet morning. The elephant continued to drift slowly through the savannah, its broad ears occasionally flapping gently, stirring the air around them. This movement was unhurried, a natural part of its steady progression. The sunlight grew a little stronger, painting the tips of the swaying gentle trunk with a soft golden hue. The world felt renewed, cleansed by the night's cool embrace and now softly illuminated by the dawn's soft glow. There was no sense of hurry in its journey, only a calm acceptance of the day's slow, beautiful arrival. With each movement, the wet grasses imparted a unique texture against the elephant's skin, a pleasant coolness contrasting with the increasing warmth of the sun on its back. The dew clung for a moment, then disappeared, leaving behind a subtle sheen on its dark hide, a fleeting testament to the morning's freshness. The entire basin seemed to hum with this silent activity, a gentle dance between light, moisture, and the awakening earth. The quiet sounds of its own slow, steady footsteps through the glistening greenery blended with the sparse birdsong, creating a deeply relaxing symphony of the nascent day. The elephant lifted its head, its eyes calmly scanning the horizon. The sky continued its transformation, now a wider expanse of pale blue streaked with lingering touches of gold and soft orange. The light was growing steadily, but always with a gentle progression, never a sudden burst. This gradual illumination allowed every detail of the landscape to reveal itself slowly, without demand or urgency. Patches of taller grass swayed almost imperceptibly in the lightest of morning breezes, creating a hypnotic, rhythmic movement that spoke of deep relaxation. The elephant found comfort in this predictable, peaceful transition. The warmth in the air increased almost imperceptibly, a slow, stable rise in temperature that promised a pleasant summer day. It paused for a longer moment, its great body a picture of stillness amidst the sparkling basin. The delicate sounds of the morning, the barely audible rustle of drying leaves in the distant trees, the soft, distant chirps, all contributed to a feeling of deep serenity. This was a time of quiet observation, of simply being present in the tranquil unfolding of dawn. The grass basin, with its countless sparkling points of light, was like a vast natural tapestry woven with threads of moisture and sunlight. The elephant continued to walk, its path creating gentle depressions in the dewy carpet, which slowly sprang back into place. Its journey through this serene setting was a testament to the unhurried nature of the wild, where every moment held its own soft beauty and every transition was a deliberate, graceful act. The calm energy that dawn brought to the surrounding environment was palpable, yet never overwhelming. It was an energy of growth, of renewal, of quiet possibility. The elephant carried this feeling within its powerful yet gentle form, moving without a specific destination in mind, only the flow of the land guiding its path. The air felt cleaner, fresher, carrying the faint, sweet scent of blossoming wild plants that would soon open fully under the brighter sun. The elephant's trunk moved from side to side, subtly sampling these emerging fragrances, a peaceful exploration of the new day's offerings. The peaceful awakening of the landscape was a gradual process, reflected in the slow unfurling of the sky, the gentle increase in birdsong, and the measured warming of the air. The elephant remained an integral, tranquil part of this unfolding. Its presence in the dew-covered grass basin felt entirely natural, a silent acknowledgement of the rhythms of the earth. The light continued to pour, a steady, comforting stream of warmth that chased away any remaining shadows, leaving the basin bathed in a quiet, golden glow. As the last traces of dew evaporated from the highest blades, shimmering like fleeting memories, the elephant began a gentle upward slope towards the far edge of the basin. The grass here was drier, softer underfoot, a different texture entirely, signaling a subtle shift in the micro setting, yet maintaining the same pervasive sense of calm and stability. The journey continued onward, without haste, as the morning sun fully claimed the sky, guiding the elephant deeper into the peaceful heart of the golden savannah. Chapter 6. The gentle journey continued, moving away from the glistening, dew-kissed basin as the sun climbed a little higher. The elephant's slow, steady footsteps carried it forward into a new landscape, one that shimmered with a different kind of morning light. Ahead lay a scattered grove of acacia trees, their branches spreading wide, adorned with clusters of delicate, creamy yellow blossoms. The air itself seemed to hum with the soft, peaceful energy of the growing day. Here, the golden light of the early morning streamed through the canopy, catching the tiny leaves and fragrant flowers. It filtered down to the earth in shifting patterns, creating a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow upon the quiet ground. Each ray stretched and softened, illuminating the spaces beneath the trees with a warm, inviting glow. The dappled sunlight offered a visual comfort, a tapestry woven from the sun's steady presence and the gentle embrace of the foliage. As the elephant passed beneath these natural lanterns, a wonderful fragrance began to drift on the mild summer breezes. It was the sweet, subtle perfume of the acacia blossoms, a scent that spoke of new beginnings and the quiet abundance of the savannah. The air felt light and clear, carrying this delicate aroma across the grove, inviting a deeper, calmer breathing. The elephant's trunk swayed gently, rising and falling with each peaceful intake of this pleasant, earthy sweetness. Within the tranquil shelter of the acacias, a gentle symphony of sounds began to emerge. Bees, small and busy, moved quietly among the countless flowers, their soft buzzing creating a low, rhythmic hum. It was a sound of purpose, yet utterly without haste or urgency, Distant birds contributed their own gentle melodies, clear and unhurried, weaving through the rustling leaves. These peaceful sounds blended together, forming a soothing backdrop to the elephant's unhurried exploration. The ground beneath the elephant's broad, sturdy feet was now a mixture of fine, warm earth and scattered fallen leaves from the previous season. The texture offered a soft cushioning with each step, a comforting change from the wet grass of the dawn. The elephant paused occasionally, its great ears slowly flapping, stirring the air around it. This gentle movement seemed to punctuate the quiet stillness of the grove, a steady rhythm in the calm expanse. Among the acacias, pockets of deeper shade offered a cool respite from the strengthening sun, while open patches allowed the full warmth of morning to settle. The elephant moved between these spaces, enjoying the subtle shifts in temperature. It was a serene progression, a quiet wandering through a landscape that felt deeply nurturing. The sense of safety here was profound, surrounded by the sturdy trunks and the reaching branches of the flowering trees. With each careful step, the elephant continued its exploration of this tranquil clearing. It brushed softly against the lower branches, dislodging a cascade of golden petals that drifted silently to the ground. The beauty of these falling blossoms added another layer to the serene scene, a fleeting, almost dreamlike event in the peaceful morning. There was no need to hurry, only to experience the present moment in its full, gentle scope. The sunlight continued to grow stronger, yet the grove maintained its soothing atmosphere. The filtered light prevented any harshness, softening the day's intensity into a kind of warm, enveloping glow. This particular corner of the savannah with its flowering acacias felt like a haven of comfort and quiet activity. The elephant lingered here, drawing on the quiet energy, a silent observer in a world designed for gentle repose. The steady rhythm of the day unfolded, marked by the rising sun and the gradual warming of the air. The elephant's journey was a continuous flow, a series of peaceful transitions from one comforting setting to the next. The acacia grove, with its rich scents and soft light, provided a memorable interlude. It was a place of abundance, offering both nourishment for the body and a quiet kind of rest for the mind, all while the world slowly awakened around it. As the morning hours deepened, the elephant began to move with a gentle certainty toward the edge of the grove. Its steady pace remained unbroken, reflecting a natural harmony with the growing warmth and light of the summer day. The soft buzz of bees and the distant calls of birds began to fade slightly behind it, replaced by new, subtle sounds of the evolving landscape. The path ahead promised yet another gentle unveiling, another stretch of the vast, quiet wilderness awaiting exploration. The elephant continued, its presence a calm, anchoring force in the peaceful expanse of Botswana. Chapter 7. The light continued to brighten across the land, drawing the elephant from the dappled quiet of the acacia grove into an open expanse where morning had settled more fully. Here, the ground began to change, no longer a soft carpet of dew-kissed grass but a winding, dry earth trail, worn smooth by countless journeys. The path stretched ahead, a ribbon of pale amber dust that seemed to absorb the strengthening warmth of the summer sun. With each measured, slow, steady footsteps, fine particles of earth rose around its massive feet. This dust did not linger or billow. Instead, it ascended softly, a fleeting cloud, before settling again almost immediately into the still air, as if pulled gently back to the ground it had just left. The quiet movement was a rhythm of the morning, a steady progression through the peaceful wilderness. Along the edges of this ancient track, low shrubs dotted the landscape, their leaves a muted green, dusted with the same fine powder. They stood patiently, offering a subtle border to the path, creating quiet clearings where the light fell unhindered. Scattered across this new terrain were the termite mounds, ancient structures of hardened earth. Each mound rose like a small, sculpted hill, some grand and conical, others more rounded and weathered, silent sentinels watching distant horizons. As the sun climbed higher, the mounds began to cast lengthening shadows, dark shapes stretching out across the dusty path, offering ephemeral patterns that shifted with the passage of time. The elephant brushed against companions, a reassuring contact, and as it moved through this gentle scenery, a calm quietude settled over the scene, broken only by the rustle of its own movements and the occasional faint murmur carried on a gentle breeze. The air itself held a different fragrance now, a dry, earthy scent mingled with the subtle, distant aromas of unseen vegetation. The elephant's trunk curled softly, sampling the invisible currents, gathering information from the changing world around it. It perceived the faint sweetness from flowering shrubs further afield, a quiet promise of new sustenance that encouraged its relaxed progression. The journey through this particular stretch was an exercise in slow travel, an appreciation of how even the most unassuming terrain could hold endless gentle details. The texture of the ground underfoot shifted from compacted earth to areas where small, smooth pebbles were embedded. The light played upon these surfaces, highlighting every tiny variation. The elephant observed these quiet changes, its deep attention unwavering, its presence a grounding force in the landscape. Ahead, the path narrowed slightly, inviting it to continue onward. The elephant responded with its characteristic unhurried grace, its broad ears occasionally flapping, a slow, gentle motion that stirred the air around its massive head. There was a comfort in this predictable rhythm, a sense of stability in the continuous, calm movement. The summer morning was progressing steadily, peacefully, without urgency, each moment unfolding into the next with a soft inevitability. The distant sounds of the savannah remained as background whispers, contributing to the overall sense of rest and quiet harmony. The sun warmed its skin, a steady, comforting heat that permeated the slow journey. The world offered its subtle shifts, and the elephant accepted each one with a peaceful mind. It was simply moving, simply observing, simply existing within the vast golden grasslands. The scattered termite mounds, once just shapes, now revealed intricate textures upon closer inspection, tiny ridges and hollows formed by countless years of silent building. Shadows continued to lengthen and contract, following the sun's high arc, always changing, always moving, yet always doing so with a tranquil slowness. This quiet unfolding of the morning, this relaxed passage along the path of amber dust, invited a deep relaxation, a sense of safety and timelessness under the wide Botswana sky. The elephant's journey was a continuous flow, a peaceful drifting through savannah, each step a part of an unhurried, gentle story. Chapter 8. The winding, dry earth trail which had guided the elephant through stretches of low shrubs and past the rounded forms of termite mounds began to soften its incline, gradually broadening into a wider, flatter expanse. The amber dust underfoot, which had risen in soft puffs with each of the elephant's slow, steady footsteps, now gave way to a lighter, paler surface. A subtle shift in the air became apparent, a cleaner, almost mineral scent replacing the earthy fragrance of the dry vegetation. The landscape opened up, stretching far into the distance, a vast canvas beneath the strengthening morning sun. As the elephant continued its unhurried progression, the ground beneath its colossal feet transformed further. The compact earth became infused with a fine, almost crystalline powder, reflecting the growing light with a faint, almost ethereal shimmer. This was a new environment, distinct from the dewy basins, the acacia groves, and the dusty pathways that had marked the morning's journey. Before the elephant lay the margin of a shallow seasonal salt pan, its surface a vast pale expanse that absorbed the sun's rays and sent them back into the air as bright, dancing reflections. The warmth of the morning, which had been gradually increasing, now felt more expansive, less filtered by leaves or absorbed by dark earth. The air above the salt pan began to shimmer visibly, creating a soft, wavering haze that softened the edges of the distant horizon. Despite this increasing intensity of light and warmth, the atmosphere remained deeply calm and tranquil. The sheer scale of the open space, the silent invitation of the broad horizons, contributed to a feeling of immense peace. The elephant paused, its broad ears gently flapping, catching the faintest whispers of a breeze that now drifted freely across this open plain. Its trunk, a marvel of soft movement and keen sensation, slowly lowered, delicately brushing against the salt-crusted ground. The texture was different from anything encountered before, a fine, almost delicate grit over a firmer base, reflecting the light in tiny, intricate facets. This was not a place of deep water or lush vegetation, but a place of stillness and mineral purity. Moving forward with a careful, deliberate rhythm, the elephant explored the edge of this unique seasonal pan. Its footsteps, usually accompanied by the soft crunch of dry leaves or the gentle give of damp earth, now produced a quiet, almost whispering sound as its weight settled upon the shallow salt layer. The subtle sounds created by the wind were more noticeable here, moving across the vast, unbroken surface of the pan, producing a low, sustained murmur that resonated with the quiet natural patterns of the land. It was a singing in the softest sense, a continuous peaceful hum of the wind over the wide open space. The elephant's gaze, calm and observant, swept across the shimmering surface. The bright reflections from the pale ground seemed to multiply the daylight, creating a luminous quality to the air. Patches of crystallized salt caught the strengthening sun, gleaming with a pure white brilliance. The landscape felt ancient and elemental, a testament to the slow interplay of water and sun over countless seasons. There was no rush, no urgency in the elephant's movements. Its slow, steady pace allowed for a full appreciation of this new vista. It recognized the signs of dryness, the absence of fresh green growth, yet found a different kind of beauty in the stark simplicity of the salt pan. The vastness of the sky above, a clear and boundless blue, seemed to meet the pale, flat earth in an unending embrace. With a gentle curiosity, the elephant extended its trunk once more, carefully touching a particularly smooth, bright patch of the salty ground. The tip of its trunk then curled softly, conveying the sensation of the fine particles, the clean, crisp taste of the minerals that composed this silent, shimmering expanse. It was a taste of the land itself, a reflection of the earth's own quiet processes, captured and held within the pan. As the morning hours deepened, the sun climbed higher, casting its golden light more directly upon the salt pan. The shimmering quality of the air became more pronounced, a gentle, almost dreamlike distortion of the distant world. Yet, the elephant remained undisturbed by the increasing heat and light. Its large form, moving with such inherent comfort, seemed perfectly at home within this expansive, sun-drenched landscape. The subtle sounds of the wind continued its soft song, a peaceful melody that seemed to rise from the very earth and air. It was a reminder of the constant, unhurried flow of nature, a soothing backdrop to the elephant's quiet journey. The broad horizons, stretching out on every side, offered a feeling of boundless freedom and stable continuity. The elephant continued its gentle wander along the edge of the salt pan, its presence a calm anchor in the vast, open space. Each measured step was a simple affirmation of life's steady rhythm, a progression through a world rich with quiet, enduring details. The air, warm and dry, enveloped its massive form in a comforting embrace, a testament to the persistent summer conditions. There was a profound sense of natural pattern here, in the way the light reflected, in the way the wind whispered, and in the elephant's own peaceful, deliberate exploration. This new experience, the singing salt edge, became another gentle chapter in the unfolding narrative of its day, a chapter filled with the quiet grandeur of open spaces and the subtle beauty of a landscape shaped by sun and earth. The journey continued onward, carrying the elephant towards whatever gentle discoveries the late morning hours held in store, promising perhaps a cooler refuge or a different texture of earth to explore. Chapter 9. The warm air above the shimmering salt pan had intensified, creating a subtle haze that softened the distant line of the horizon. The elephant had slowly moved away from its reflective edges, leaving behind the wide, open expanse where the sun's strengthening rays had danced upon the pale, dry ground. With each steady step, the landscape began to shift, the vast flatness gradually giving way to gentle undulations in the terrain. The increasing brightness of the late morning sun now suggested a need for cool respite, a quiet haven from the pervasive warmth that draped over the summer plains. A cluster of ancient granite outcrops emerged into view, rising with a patient dignity from the surrounding earth. These formations were unlike any seen earlier, their surfaces weathered by countless seasons, their rounded forms hinting at stories etched into their very being. The elephant approached them with a deliberate, unhurried pace, its massive form casting a moving shadow that lengthened with each stride across the dry earth. These rocks promised a different kind of stillness, a sheltered pocket where the harsh directness of the sun might be softened. As the elephant drew nearer, the air around the granite felt discernibly cooler. The sun, though still bright overhead, was now intercepted by the imposing bulk of the stone. Deep, inviting shadows gathered close to the rock faces, offering a comforting contrast to the bright landscape outside their silent embrace. The elephant moved into this welcome shade, its broad ears occasionally flapping with a slow, rhythmic motion, stirring the slightly cooler air. A sense of profound safety settled over the area, a natural sanctuary in the peaceful wilderness. The elephant found a spacious patch of ground beneath an overhang, its massive body settling down with a gentle sigh that seemed to echo the quiet relief of the moment. Here the ground was firm yet smooth, providing a solid foundation for a period of rest. The granite itself held a fascinating texture, a combination of roughness and polished smoothness where countless years of wind and rain had sculpted its surface. The elephant leaned slightly against a sun-warmed but shaded rock, feeling the subtle vibration of the earth below. While resting, its large eyes slowly scanned the immediate vicinity. The world within these granite shadows was a miniature realm of activity. Tiny lizards, their skin camouflaged against the stone, darted with quick, soft movements, pausing abruptly to absorb the muted light before disappearing into narrow crevices. Their sudden stillness added another layer to the pervading calm, a fleeting glimpse of life's quiet rhythm. The elephant watched them with a serene curiosity, its focus drawn to their effortless grace. Faint echoes seemed to carry among the rocks, perhaps the distant call of a bird from the open plains, or merely the whisper of the growing summer breeze as it wound its way through the stone passages. These sounds were muted, softened by the granite's presence, dissolving almost as soon as they reached the shaded refuge. They contributed to a gentle nature ambiance that encouraged a deep relaxation, a quiet harmony of warmth and coolness, movement and stillness. The elephant's trunk, usually an instrument of constant exploration, curled softly against its tusks, coming to a gentle rest. Its calm breathing was almost imperceptible, a slow, steady rhythm that mirrored the languid pace of the late morning. This was a moment dedicated to deep rest, a pause in the slow, steady footsteps of its journey. The feeling of comfort was complete within this shared shaded shelter, a tranquil interlude before the day progressed further. The stone surfaces themselves presented a palette of muted colors, grays, faint greens, and touches of russet where minerals had stained the rock over time. Sunlight, filtered and softened, created gentle patterns across the ground beneath the overhang, shifting almost imperceptibly as the sun moved higher in the sky. These subtle changes in light and shadow added to the peaceful mind experience, inviting quiet observation rather than active engagement. The scent of dry earth mingled with a faint mineral richness from the granite, a clean and ancient aroma that spoke of enduring landscapes. The quiet hum of unseen insects drifted from the brighter areas beyond the shade, a constant low murmur that blended seamlessly with the overall tranquility. The elephant remained still, allowing the feeling of safety to envelop it fully. The soft warmth of the air just outside the shadows was a reminder of the sun's power, but here, in the embrace of the ancient stones, true peace resided. This brief interlude of shelter offered a profound sense of stability. The passage of time seemed to slow even further within these quiet surroundings, each moment unfolding with a gentle deliberation. The elephant felt the ground beneath its impressive weight, a comforting assurance of solid support. It simply existed, absorbing the textures of stone and earth, the subtle shifts in temperature, and the hushed sounds that moved through the air. Soon the sun would reach its zenith, and the landscape would glow with its full midday intensity. But for now, within the gentle embrace of the weathered granite, the elephant found a perfect moment of stillness. It was a space for calm reflection, a pause that replenished its steady spirit, preparing it for the onward journey. The quiet refuge held it in its comforting stillness, a silent promise of enduring peace as the summer morning continued its smooth, unhurried progression toward the heart of the day. Chapter 10. Beyond the weathered granite outcrops, where cool shadows had offered a gentle respite, the elephant resumed its slow, steady journey. The late morning light had deepened, casting fewer pronounced edges as the sun climbed higher, bringing with it a pervasive warmth that settled across the vast landscape. The air, though warm, carried an invitation to quiet exploration, a subtle shift in the day's unfolding narrative. Each massive foot lifted and descended with a practiced ease, pressing softly into the slightly warmed earth, carrying the ancient rhythm of the savannah. There was a peaceful understanding in its measured pace, a deliberate choice to move through the rising heat with an unhurried grace. Ahead, the ground sloped gently downwards into a shallow, wide depression. This hollow, hidden subtly from the open plain by its unassuming depth, was a tapestry of green and silver-green vegetation. Unlike the dry, dusty path or the shimmering salt pan, this space vibrated with a different kind of life, a quiet abundance nourished by some unseen source deep beneath the surface. As the elephant approached its edge, a new sensation drifted forward on the still air. It was a complex, layered scent, unlike any encountered earlier in the day. This was the fragrance of wild herbs, warmed by the encroaching midday sun, slowly releasing their essences into the atmosphere. The scent was both earthy and bright, a comforting blend that spoke of deep roots and sun-kissed leaves, a natural perfume of the summer savannah. The elephant lowered its head, its trunk reaching out, swaying gently, tasting the air, drawing in the rich, aromatic bouquet. Each intake of breath was slow and deliberate, a quiet appreciation of the invisible currents that carried these particular scents. This was a place of sensory immersion, where the world revealed itself through delicate molecules carried on the air. With an almost imperceptible lean, the elephant stepped into the hollow, its broad ears occasionally flapping, stirring the air around them, perhaps to better circulate the new, pleasant smells. The wild herbs grew in a dense, low carpet, reaching to the elephant's knees in places. There were plants with feathery leaves, and others with broader, smoother surfaces, all contributing to the pervasive, nurturing scent. As the elephant moved slowly forward, its massive legs brushed against the vegetation. Each touch released a fresh burst of fragrance, a tiny, quiet exhalation from the plants themselves. The air around its legs became a cloud of aromatic oils, a personal aura of the hollow's unique perfume. These subtle disturbances were the only sounds beyond the distant hum of the day, a soft rustle that quickly faded back into the prevailing stillness. Tiny insects, attracted by the warmth and the bounty of the herbs, hummed lazily among the small, unassuming flowers that dotted the green carpet. Their buzzing was a low, continuous murmur, a peaceful, natural music that blended seamlessly with the overall quiet of the scene. It was a sound that reassured, a gentle affirmation of life unfolding without haste or demand. The sunlight, now nearing its zenith, poured down into the hollow, intensifying the release of the herbal fragrances. It was a warm, enveloping light, yet tempered by the soft greenness of the plants, creating a feeling of comfortable embrace rather than harsh exposure. The very air felt thick with warmth and aroma, a soothing combination that encouraged deep relaxation. The elephant continued its exploration, not driven by hunger or thirst, but by a calm curiosity. Its trunk curled softly, delicately investigating clumps of particularly fragrant herbs, pressing them gently, perhaps to understand their texture or to inhale their full, complex aroma. Each new cluster offered a slightly different note in the hollow's fragrant symphony. The ground beneath its feet was soft, yielding slightly to its weight, a comfortable contrast to the harder, rockier ground of the granite outcrops. This was a haven of softness and quiet, a place where time itself seemed to slow to the rhythm of a steady, calm breath. From the slight rise of the hollow's edge, a distant heat created wavering patterns above the ground on the outer plains, a visual sign of the strengthening summer conditions. Yet within the hollow, enclosed by its fragrant embrace, the atmosphere remained remarkably nurturing and peaceful. The gentle warmth mingled with the continuous soft perfume, creating a tranquil microclimate. It was a space where the world felt stable and safe, a momentary pause in the day's progression dedicated entirely to the subtle pleasures of scent and slow, deliberate movement. The elephant found a deep comfort in this quiet haven, a simple, profound satisfaction in merely being present amidst the pervasive, gentle fragrance. It paused in the deepest part of the hollow, standing still for a long moment. The sunlight warmed its broad back, a steady, comforting weight. The air, rich with the essence of wild herbs, filled its vast lungs with each calm breath. The low hum of insects served as a silent companion, a subtle echo of the world's persistent, quiet life. This was a time for complete rest, an interlude of deep relaxation before the day continued its predictable, unhurried course. The elephant remained in this peaceful stillness, surrounded by the sweet, earthy scents, perfectly attuned to the gentle rhythms of the approaching noon, finding profound reassurance in the simplicity of this fragrant, sun-warmed hollow. The serene quiet of the place enveloped it completely, preparing it for the next peaceful phase of its journey. Chapter 11. From the aromatic warmth of the hollow, the elephant continued its unhurried progression, its large, quiet form moving with a graceful weight. The summer sun climbed steadily toward its zenith, painting the vast canvas of the sky with an almost blinding brilliance. The air, though warm, held a particular stillness that suggested the peak of the day was gently unfolding. Each slow, steady step carried the elephant across ground that felt firm and dry, a subtle contrast to the softer earth of the fragrant plants it had just left behind. Then, through a gentle break in the sparse, low vegetation, a shimmering expanse appeared. It was a broad, reflective pool, a quiet oasis fed by hidden groundwater, lying serenely under the brilliant midday sun. The water spread out like an enormous polished mirror, capturing the vastness of the sky above and holding it captive on its surface. Light danced across this liquid canvas, creating an intricate ballet of shifting patterns that seemed to ripple with a soft, ethereal glow. These ethereal glimmers moved with an almost dreamlike quality, captivating in their tranquil display. The elephant approached the edge of this clear pool with a soft curiosity, its massive frame casting a momentary, lengthening shadow across the sun-drenched bank. The warmth of the surrounding environment felt subtly diminished by the inviting presence of the water. There was a sense of profound calm that emanated from the still, cool depths. The surface was undisturbed by any current, offering a perfect, unbroken reflection of the pale blue sky and the occasional slow-drifting cloud. This mirror-like quality gave the scene a sense of boundless space, even within the confines of the pool's edge. With a slow, deliberate motion, the elephant extended its trunk, lowering the sensitive tip toward the water. The air above the pool felt slightly cooler, a gentle reprieve from the intensifying summer heat. The trunk dipped, softly breaking the perfect reflection, and a deep, satisfied inhalation followed. The cool, clear water filled its trunk, a refreshing draft drawn from the earth's quiet generosity. The act of drinking was unhurried, a long, peaceful moment of replenishment. Each deep drink offered a comforting sense of internal cooling, a welcome balance to the external warmth. After quenching its thirst, the elephant lingered by the water's edge. A low, soft rumble, barely perceptible, emanated from its chest, a subtle expression of contentment. Its broad ears flapped gently, creating barely a whisper of sound in the still air, aiding in the quiet regulation of its inner temperature. Then, with another calm movement of its trunk, the elephant began to sprinkle cool water over its massive back and dusty head. The fine spray glistened for an instant in the sun before settling onto its thick, weathered hide, bringing with it a soothing sensation. The water trickled down its skin, following the natural contours of its form, washing away the fine dust of the morning's journey. This simple ritual, performed with such slow, quiet grace, was a gentle act of self-care. It was a momentary pause, a deep rest in the heart of the day, allowing the body to settle into a state of comfort and ease. The cool moisture seemed to invigorate without stimulating, offering a quiet refreshment that sank deep. The elephant then moved a step or two deeper into the shallow margins of the pool, feeling the soft, yielding earth beneath its massive feet turn to cool mud. The water reached just above its ankles, providing a constant, mild embrace. It stood there, a grand, silent sentinel with the midday sun high above. Its eyes, calm and ancient, watched the reflections on the water. Clouds, like slow-moving ships of vapor, drifted effortlessly across the mirrored surface, their shapes dissolving and reforming with a quiet grace. Sometimes a distant bird would pass overhead, its fleeting shadow momentarily darkening the bright reflection before vanishing. This broad reflective pool felt like a sanctuary, a place where time itself seemed to slow to an almost imperceptible crawl. The soft, lapping sounds of its own movements were the only disturbances to the profound stillness. The subtle, earthy scent of damp soil mingled faintly with the clean, fresh aroma of the water itself. There was no urgency, no immediate destination that called with any haste. Only the quiet appreciation of the present moment, held within the embrace of the midday heat and the cool, restorative water. As the summer warmth reached its comfortable peak, the elephant chose to linger, allowing its body to absorb the quiet energy of the peaceful surroundings. It might have even dozed near the water, its vast form a silhouette against the shimmering surface, finding a deep relaxation in this unique spot. The gentle rhythm of its breathing was the only discernible movement for a time, a testament to the profound sense of safety and stability that the pool offered. The sun's rays, though strong, felt softened by the liquid's presence, creating a gentle warmth that was pleasant rather than overwhelming. This interlude at the mirror of midday was a pivotal moment of balance in the day's long, slow journey. It was a period of quiet restoration, an opportunity for the elephant to settle into a deep, comforting ease before continuing its peaceful travels. The clear water offered not only physical refreshment, but also a serene visual tranquility, a steady image of the sky that seemed to calm the very air. With a renewed sense of gentle purpose, the elephant would eventually lift its head, its trunk curling softly, ready to resume its steady path across the sun-drenched plains, carrying with it the cool memory of the still, reflective pool. Its departure would be as calm and unhurried as its arrival, a seamless transition from one peaceful moment to the next. Chapter 12. Leaving the cool embrace of the reflective pool, the elephant resumed its unhurried journey. The midday sun, having reached its zenith, now began its slow descent, painting the vast canvas of the summer sky with an ever so subtle shift in its golden hues. Each heavy yet peaceful footstep carried the animal further across the quiet landscape, its form a moving silhouette against the bright expanse. The air remained warm, though a promise of afternoon gentleness began to stir, carried on faint, distant breezes. The land stretched out, an open invitation to continued exploration, where every undulation and scattered growth held a new, calm revelation. The elephant's progress was a rhythm of measured intention, a steady drift across the plain, each moment unfolding with a natural grace. As the path unfurled, a monumental presence began to emerge on the far horizon. At first, it was merely a rounded form, distinct from the low shrubs and scattered termite mounds that dotted the savannah. Slowly, with each deliberate stride, the shape resolved itself into something grander, an ancient sentinel rising from the flat earth. It was a baobab, solitary and immense, its broad presence growing steadily in definition as the elephant drew near. The sheer scale of the tree was a quiet wonder, its wide trunk suggesting centuries of silent observation. The elephant's slow, steady footsteps carried it toward this natural landmark, a place that promised both rest and a deeper connection to the enduring spirit of the land. Finally, the elephant arrived beneath the baobab's venerable canopy. It was like stepping into a different world, a sanctuary of calm within the early afternoon. The intense light of the open plain softened immediately, filtered through the dense, deep green leaves into a diffused, dappled pattern on the earth below. This gentle light created a cool comfort, a welcoming contrast to the brightness outside the tree's expansive reach. The air here felt subtly different too, perhaps a few degrees cooler, carrying a faint, earthy scent unique to the deep shade. The elephant paused, allowing the stillness to settle around its immense form, embracing this moment of peaceful repose. The baobab stood, a living monument to the slow passage of time. Its trunk, vast and gray, was a tapestry of deep furrows and smoother, weathered patches, each crease telling an untold story of seasons come and gone. The elephant's swaying gentle trunk reached out, exploring these textures with a soft touch, tracing the ancient lines etched into the bark. It was a silent communication, a quiet appreciation for the endurance of this remarkable tree. The trunk curled softly, resting against the cool surface for a moment, finding a simple comfort in the connection. This gentle interaction was a small, personal ritual, a moment of deep relaxation beneath the baobab's protective embrace. Warm breezes, which had moved lazily across the surrounding plain, seemed to gather and swirl softly within the baobab's shade. They carried whispers from the tall grasses and distant clearings, sounds that blended into a continuous, soothing murmur. High above, among the distant branches, a few birds occasionally settled, their quiet chirps adding a delicate layer to the pervasive stillness. These were not energetic calls, but soft, contented notes, reflecting the calm atmosphere that permeated the baobab's domain. The elephant remained still, allowing the subtle movements of the air and the faint sounds to wash over it, deepening its sense of quiet peace. Beneath the baobab crown, time seemed to slow even further, a gentle pause in the day's progression. There was a profound sense of stability here, a feeling of unchanging presence that offered quiet reassurance. The tree had witnessed countless afternoons, seen generations of creatures come and go, yet it remained a steadfast point of rest in the drifting through savannah. The elephant found itself sharing shaded shelter that had provided refuge for untold beings before it, a quiet history unfolding in the silent space. The experience was one of deep relaxation, allowing the body to settle, the breath to deepen, and the mind to find a peaceful equilibrium. The elephant's eyes, usually alert to the wider world, now softened, observing the intricate dance of light and shadow on the dusty ground. Tiny insects moved with unhurried purpose, creating minute disturbances in the still earth. The broad roots of the baobab spread outwards, anchoring the giant firmly, a silent testament to its strength and its deep connection to the land. This visual exploration was calm and gentle, a quiet appreciation for the small details that comprised this ancient ecosystem. Every element contributed to a feeling of safety and comfort, a sense that all was well in this corner of the vast, sun-warmed world. As the early afternoon slowly matured, the elephant remained nestled beside the herd of one, absorbing the tranquil energy of the baobab. There was no urgency to move, no distant call to heed. This was a moment purely for rest, a time to simply be present within the enduring shelter. The sun continued its arc, subtly changing the angles of the filtered light, painting new patterns on the bark and the ground. Each shift was gradual, a gentle progression that did not disturb the pervasive calm. The environment felt nurturing and stable, a perfect place for quiet contemplation. The deep comfort of the baobab's shade offered a natural cradle for peaceful thought. The air, though warm, was never stifling, constantly refreshed by the lazy breezes. It was a space where the world felt held, where the cycle of the day unfolded with an assured slowness. The elephant's gentle breathing filled the quiet space, a soft, rhythmic sound that underscored the stillness. There was a quiet strength in simply existing here, in drawing a sense of continuity from the enduring presence of the baobab, a tree that had stood firm against the elements for so many seasons. After a long period of quiet rest, a subtle stir moved through the elephant, a gentle inclination to continue onward, a soft knowing that the journey was not yet complete. It lingered for another moment, appreciating the deep peace it had found under the ancient tree, a silent gratitude for the comfort received. The soft light and cool air had provided a perfect interlude, a restorative pause. With a final, slow breath, the elephant prepared to depart from this venerable landmark, its spirit refreshed, ready to re-enter the expansive plain. Its slow, steady footsteps would soon carry it away from the stable presence of the baobab towards the next unfolding chapter of the day. The journey would continue, a smooth, quiet progression across the summer landscape, guided by an intrinsic rhythm. Chapter 13. The immense baobab, a steadfast sentinel against the afternoon sun, slowly receded behind the elephant as its gentle journey continued. The ground beneath its slow, steady footsteps transitioned from the firmer earth near the ancient tree to a softer, more yielding surface. The air remained warm, carrying the lingering scent of sun-baked bark, now subtly mingling with something new and fresh. The world ahead unfolded into an expansive stretch of tall summer grasses, a vast, verdant sea rippling under the afternoon winds. This field of swaying seed was unlike any landscape the elephant had encountered earlier in the day. The grasses stood remarkably high, some stalks reaching well above the elephant's broad back, creating a dense, living wall that seemed to stretch vastly towards the distant horizon. A soft, persistent breeze, a signature late afternoon, began breathing across verdant expanse. It coaxed the countless seed heads to sway in a unified rhythmic motion, creating visible waves that traveled gracefully across the golden grasslands. Each gust of wind passed across the landscape in slow, undulating patterns, as if an invisible hand were gently moving through the immense natural tapestry. The sunlight, which had shone so brightly a day, now began a gradual shift towards softer, more subdued afternoon tones. Its intense golden brilliance mellowed into warmer, more diffused glow, painting the rippling grasses in shades of amber and soft bronze. The light caught the tiny, delicate seeds, making them shimmer briefly before they vanished back into the gentle shadow of the next passing wave. This slow transformation of color added to the profound sense of peace that settled over the plains, a quiet reassurance that the day was progressing with graceful, unhurried steps. The elephant moved through this living ocean with its characteristic calm demeanor. It followed natural openings, subtle pathways woven into the vegetation by the repeated passage of various creatures, or perhaps simply shaped by the wind's persistent hand. With each deliberate step, the tall grass brushed against its thick hide, a fleeting soft caress that created a continuous rustling sound. These rustling sounds surrounded the elephant, a gentle symphony of whispers that echoed the steady breathing of the land itself. It was a peaceful sound, constant and predictable, settling deep into the quiet afternoon air. As the elephant drifted through the savannah, its long trunk swayed gently, occasionally touching the feathery seed heads. It explored the textures of the individual stalks, a momentary connection with the resilient life around it. The air within this grassy expanse felt subtly different, imbued with the earthy fragrance of dry summer vegetation and the faint, sweet aroma of ripened seeds. This quiet sensory immersion became a comforting experience, a reaffirmation of the stability and abundance of the seasonal warmth. The elephant watched the distant horizons, visible only as a soft blur beyond the endless undulations of the grass, yet holding no hint of urgency or impatience. The journey through the fields of swaying seed was a celebration of motion without haste. The elephant's slow, steady footsteps continued onward, parting the dense stalks with an almost silent grace. Each movement was deliberate yet unforced, a natural rhythm perfectly attuned to the expansive calm of the afternoon. The landscape itself felt like a living tapestry, continuously reshaped by the persistent breeze, each wave of grass a fleeting brushstroke in a never-ending artwork. The world here was one of peaceful continuity, a place where time seemed to slow, allowing for a deeper appreciation of the quiet, natural patterns. A profound comfort settled over the elephant as it wandered open plains, enveloped by the continuous, soft murmuring of the grasses. There was no need for sudden changes or dramatic reveals, only the steady forward momentum of the day, guided by instinct and the gentle flow of the environment. The persistent breeze provided a constant, subtle stimulation, yet it was never disruptive, only soothing. The elephant felt safe, stable, surrounded by the predictable beauty of the wild. It continued its peaceful progression, its broad ears occasionally flapping softly, sensing the quiet shifts in the wind that carried the whispers of the plains. As the afternoon softened further, the elephant moved onward, drawing ever so slowly towards the unseen promises of the world beyond the swaying fields. Chapter 14. The elephant moved with deliberate slowness from the fields of swaying seed, the subtle rustling sounds of the tall grasses gradually diminishing behind its vast form. The afternoon wind, which had created visible waves across the golden vegetation, now felt softer, carrying a new, distinct coolness on its gentle breath. A low, continuous murmur began to reach its broad ears, a sound different from the soft whispers of the wind-tossed seeds. It was the quiet, constant voice of moving water, a steady rhythm that promised a soothing change in the landscape ahead. Ahead, the ground began to change its character, transitioning from the firm, packed earth of the grassland into a softer, more yielding expanse of pale sand. This sandy path seemed to invite the elephant forward with a silent, comforting suggestion of cool relief. The late afternoon sun, though still warm upon its back, cast longer shadows that stretched ahead like welcoming pathways. Its slow, steady footsteps began to sink a little deeper into the fine, loose grains, a different kind of texture beneath its immense weight. Then a glint of soft light appeared through a sparse scattering of reeds and low-growing bushes that dotted the sandy expanse. It was the first visual sign of the braided stream, a network of shallow channels that wound gently through the terrain. The water shimmered, not with the intense sparkle of midday, but with a softer, more diffused radiance that promised coolness and rest. The elephant continued its calm progression, each slow step bringing it closer to the refreshing embrace of the stream. As the elephant reached the edge of the first channel, its powerful, sensitive trunk curled softly, extending forward to gently touch the surface of the clear, moving water. The coolness was immediate, a refreshing sensation after the long hours under the summer sun. A faint, earthy scent, mingled with the fresh aroma of water, rose from the sandy banks. The gentle currents flowed with a quiet persistence, creating tiny, almost imperceptible ripples that spread outward from the trunk's tender exploration. The elephant's first foot stepped into the stream, breaking the smooth surface with a soft, muted sound. The cool sensation spread slowly upward, enveloping the foot, then the leg, providing a welcome contrast to the day's accumulated warmth. The sandy bottom of the channel felt soft and yielding, allowing the elephant's weight to settle deeply into the fine sediment with each deliberate, slow movement. The water was remarkably clear, revealing the patterns of the riverbed beneath, small, smooth stones nestled among the lighter sand. With its long, steady footsteps, the elephant began to cross the first braid of the stream. The water swirled gently around its powerful legs, a constant, comforting presence. The soothing sounds of the moving water filled the air, a peaceful symphony of soft murmurs and quiet glides. Sunlight, now slanted lower in the sky, glittered across the moving surfaces, creating intricate, shifting patterns of light and shadow that danced upon the water and reflected gently on the elephant's textured hide. It paused in the middle of this initial crossing, letting the cool currents wash over its feet and legs. The elephant's broad ears flapped gently, not just to shoo away any stray insects, but also to perhaps encourage a slight breeze to further enhance the feeling of relief from the day's heat. Its eyes, calm and observant, watched the water flow past, noticing the small, almost transparent aquatic life that drifted effortlessly with the current. There was a quiet stillness in its posture, a moment of deep comfort and peaceful appreciation. The braided stream offered a series of these shallow crossings, each one a similar yet subtly different experience. Some channels were wider, allowing for a longer period of immersion. Others were narrower, traversed in just a few slow, deliberate steps. The sand beneath its feet varied slightly in texture, sometimes finer, sometimes coarser, but always soft and receptive to its passage. Each channel contributed to the gradual cooling of its body, easing the lingering warmth of the afternoon. Occasionally, the elephant would gather a trunkful of the cool water, holding it for a moment before sprinkling it gently over its broad back and dusty hide. The water cascaded down in shining drops, momentarily darkening its skin before evaporating, taking with it the last remnants of the day's heat. This simple, repetitive action created a further sense of refreshing calm, reinforcing the feeling of ease that permeated the entire scene. The movement was unhurried, a natural part of its slow, deliberate journey. The air above the stream felt noticeably cooler, a comforting envelope that moved softly with the slight breezes. The sun's light continued its steady descent, transforming the colors of the water and the surrounding sandy banks. The glitter on the surface became less stark, softening into a more diffused glow, reflecting the gentle shift toward the evening hours. This gradual change in light underscored the chapter's focus on transition, marking the movement from the hotter, brighter part of the day toward the calmer, softer period of dusk. The rhythm of its slow, steady footsteps through the water created a continuous, predictable sound, blending with the stream's own soothing song. There was no sense of urgency, only a peaceful progression. The environment itself seemed to encourage this unhurried pace, with the gentle currents, the yielding sand, and the softening light all conspiring to create an atmosphere of profound tranquility. The elephant was completely immersed in the simple, present moment of crossing. As it approached the final, broadest channel, the air carried the faint, sweet scent of distant blossoms, mixed with the clean smell of damp earth and fresh water. The sunlight, now lower on the horizon, cast a warm, golden hue across the water's surface, painting the ripples with soft, ephemeral colors. The elephant paused once more, drinking deeply from the clear stream, the cool water a balm to its throat after a long day of foraging. The journey through the braided stream reinforced a feeling of natural rhythm, a comforting sense of balance restored. The day's warmth was slowly being washed away, replaced by an inner and outer coolness. Every detail, from the soft give of the sand to the gentle caress of the currents, contributed to this feeling of profound ease. The elephant moved without haste, savoring each moment of the cooling crossing. Finally, with a last series of slow, steady footsteps, the elephant emerged from the stream's final channel, onto a stretch of slightly firmer ground on the far bank. Water dripped from its legs, creating temporary dark patches on the sandy earth. It shook its head gently, a silent gesture of satisfaction and refreshment. The crossing was complete, and the elephant stood invigorated and calm, ready for the next phase of its peaceful journey as the late afternoon sun began its final descent towards the horizon. The feeling of comfort and stability lingered, carried with it from the cool, clear waters. Chapter 15. The elephant's heavy, deliberate steps carried it away from the refreshing coolness of the braided stream, rising gently onto a new expanse of the vast summer landscape. The water, a recent comfort, now lay behind, its soothing whispers fading into the quiet of the afternoon. Before the elephant stretched a broad savannah, boundless and open, now thoroughly transformed by the descending arc of the sun. The light that bathed this land was no longer the sharp gold of midday or the bright shimmer of earlier hours. Instead, it had softened, deepening into rich, burnished tones. A pervasive copper-colored sunlight draped itself over the entire plain, painting the tall grasses in hues of warm bronze and deep amber. Each blade seemed to catch the mellow glow, creating a shimmering tapestry that stretched toward the far-off horizon. Long, elegant shadows began to stretch across the land, slowly elongating with every moment that passed. They flowed like dark, peaceful rivers across the undulating terrain, following the contours of hidden rises and gentle depressions. These shadows were not harsh or sudden, rather, they extended with a quiet grace, inviting a sense of spaciousness and soft depth to the panorama. The intense heat that had presided over the zenith of the day now began its slow, inevitable retreat. A soft breeze, carrying the dry, earthy scent of the sun-warmed plains, stirred the air with a gentle touch. It was a subtle shift, a barely perceptible lessening of the day's full power, replaced by a promise of serene coolness. The air felt lighter, less dense, allowing the elephant to move with an even greater sense of ease across the sun-drenched earth. Its large, broad ears flapped with a lazy, rhythmic cadence, catching the diminishing warmth and the growing softness of the late afternoon. The summer colors of the savannah, so vibrant and green in some places, here deepened into warm golds and coppers, interwoven with faint hints of rose and russet. This palette created a serene visual atmosphere, a calming spectacle of natural artistry unfolding with quiet grandeur. Every distant shrub and solitary tree stood silhouetted against this luminous backdrop, their forms softened and diffused by the gentle light. The vastness of the space offered a profound sense of peace, a feeling of endless, unhurried progression under an ever-changing sky. The elephant continued its steady journey, each slow, steady footsteps a measured rhythm against the quiet symphony of the plains. Its large, sensitive feet found a soft purchase on the sun-baked earth, stirring up only the faintest puffs of dust that settled almost instantly. The movement was a continuation of its tranquil wanderings, a familiar pattern ingrained in the ancient trails of its kind. Its trunk swayed gently from side to side, a silent pendulum, occasionally touching the tops of the copper-toned grasses, gathering faint scents that drifted on the air. These were the subtle perfumes of dry vegetation, of distant earth, and of the quiet life that thrived unseen within the expanse. Distant wildlife silhouettes began to appear, dark shapes against the glowing horizon, moving with their own unhurried purpose. Perhaps a solitary giraffe, its long neck extended, or a small herd of antelope, grazing peacefully. Their presence was a part of the calm tapestry, observed without concern, simply another gentle element in the vast, still landscape. The elephant's wise eyes took in these far-off forms, recognizing the familiar patterns of the savannah without breaking its own quiet stride. There was a comfort in this shared existence, a silent understanding within the immense stretch of the world. The softer temperatures of the late afternoon settled around the elephant like a gentle embrace. The air, still warm, was no longer demanding, but rather inviting, a comforting balance between the day's lingering heat and the approaching coolness of evening. This gradual transition felt deeply natural, a slow unwinding of time. The sun, though still high enough to cast its glorious light, had begun its slow descent, preparing the way for the transformation to twilight. Every moment on the open plains was a testament to this gentle progression, where change unfolded with an unhurried grace. The immense open plains seemed to breathe with a silent, profound rhythm. The feeling of spaciousness was all-encompassing, a blanket of calm stretching to every edge of perception. There was no rush, no urgency, only the quiet momentum of the elephant's passage and the steady march of the sun across the sky. Time itself seemed to slow further in this vast, unconfined setting, each second lingering, allowing for deeper appreciation of the quiet movements of light and shadow. The world felt stable, predictable, and profoundly safe. The elephant's journey across this shimmering, copper-lit savannah was a passage through pure tranquility. The stillness of the vast land was broken only by the soft brush of air through grasses and the rhythmic swing of the elephant's trunk. It was a moment of profound peace, where the grand scale of nature offered an overwhelming sense of calm. The distant horizons held no secrets, only the promise of more gentle landscapes and further peaceful wanderings. The day was gently approaching evening, signaling a natural, comforting conclusion to this phase of its quiet odyssey, guiding the elephant toward whatever awaited under the coming dusk. Chapter 16. The elephant continued its patient journey, leaving the expansive savannah behind as the golden hues of late afternoon softly deepened around it. The air, which had held the warmth of the day for so long, now carried the first gentle breath of evening. With each measured step, the broad landscape began to subtly transform, yielding its wide open spaces to the encroaching embrace of a new kind of woodland. This was the territory of the mopane, a dense collection of trees whose distinctive leaves would soon respond to the descending sun in their own quiet way. Moving slowly, the elephant stepped beneath the canopy of these mopane trees, a woodland unlike the scattered acacia groves or the solitary baobab it had encountered earlier in the day. Here, the trees stood closer, their branches intertwining above to create a more intimate world. The light, which had been a brilliant copper on the open plain, now filtered through the small, butterfly-shaped mopane leaves, creating a mosaic of shifting shadows and faint, elusive glimmers. Each leaf, turning gently in the barely perceptible breeze, seemed to catch the last rays of sunlight, producing subtle flashes of a pale golden green as evening began its peaceful descent. A profound quiet settled over the mopane woodland as the day surrendered to the night. The intense heat of the summer afternoon steadily receded, replaced by cooler air that began to circulate through the network of branches and leaves. This calm, fresh air carried with it a new array of earthy scents, rich and deep, released from the soil and the vegetation after the long, warm hours of sunlight. It was a comforting fragrance, a promise of rest as the day slowly drifted away. The scent mingled with the subtle, sweet aroma of the leaves themselves, adding another layer to the gentle night ambiance. The elephant followed ancient trails, winding paths that meandered through the closely spaced trees, its slow, steady footsteps creating soft impressions in the dry earth. Its trunk swayed gently from side to side, occasionally brushing against the smooth bark of a mopane trunk, or feeling the delicate texture of a low-hanging leaf. There was no urgency in its movements, only a steady, unhurried progression deeper into the heart of the quiet forest. The ground beneath its feet shifted from the dusty earth of the savannah to a softer, leaf-strewn surface, cushioning each heavy yet peaceful step. As the sun dipped closer to the horizon, the colors in the sky above the mopane canopy began to deepen, moving from soft oranges to muted purples, visible only in glimpses through the dense foliage. The woodland itself absorbed these changes, its greens taking on a richer, more profound hue before slowly fading into the coming twilight. Birds, which had been active throughout the day, were now settling for the night, their final soft calls drifting through the stillness of the trees. These gentle melodies contributed to the feeling of deep relaxation that enveloped the evening landscape. The elephant paused, its broad ears occasionally flapping softly, not in distress but as a slow, rhythmic movement, sensing the world around it. It listened to the quiet rustling of leaves as the last breezes whispered through the branches, and the distant, calming sounds of the awakening nocturnal insects beginning their nightly chorus. The transition from day to night in the mopane woodland was a process of calm beauty, a gradual unfolding that brought a profound sense of safety and stability. Each moment flowed seamlessly into the next, maintaining a predictable and peaceful journey. The woodland felt like a peaceful wilderness, offering a deep sense of comfort. The darkening light created a soft mystery, hinting at what the night would bring without ever creating a spark of excitement. The air grew progressively cooler, a refreshing contrast to the day's peak, inviting a natural sense of peace. This gentle cooling was a physical reassurance, a sign that the demanding heat of summer was truly yielding to the tranquil embrace of the evening. The elephant stood for a moment, simply absorbing the stillness, a living part of the silent nature surrounding it. Then, with a gentle shift of its weight, the elephant continued its exploration of the quiet clearings and winding routes within the mopane. Its journey through this serene landscape was a continuous thread, weaving through the subtle changes of light and sound, from the open plains into the deeper, comforting shadows of the trees. The evening developed with quiet dignity, showing how the landscape prepared itself for darkness, not with a sudden rush, but with a serene, unhurried grace. The tranquil atmosphere encouraged a restful state, promising a night of deep sleep under the darkening sky. The soft, deepening twilight invited a peaceful mind, preparing the way for a long period of quiet rest, further into the calm, comforting expanse of the savannah night. Chapter 17. Emerging from the winding paths of the mopane woodland, where the last light had dappled through the leaves, the elephant began a subtle ascent. The ground beneath its slow, steady footsteps transitioned from the darker, compacted earth of the forest floor to a lighter, looser soil. This gentle slope hinted at a change in elevation, a gradual rise that promised a new perspective on the vast summer landscape. With each unhurried step, the air around it grew subtly clearer, carrying fewer immediate scents of dense foliage and more of the open spaces beyond. The incline was long and easy, designed by the land itself to offer comfort, not challenge, allowing the massive form to move with quiet grace toward the higher ground. Finally, the broad form reached the summit of a low, rounded ridge. Before it stretched an immense, unobstructed view, unlike any panorama encountered during the day's tranquil journey. The horizon, a distant, unwavering line, now glowed with an intensity that pulled the gaze gently westward. The sun, a silent orb, was nearing its departure, painting the entire western sky in profound shades of crimson and vibrant orange. These warm colors spread lavishly, blending into softer tones of rose and amber as they climbed towards the zenith, creating a spectacular, yet incredibly calm farewell to the day. This vast canvas of light seemed to breathe across the distant floodplains, a shimmering expanse that reflected the sky's fiery spectacle. The shallow waters, lying still and peaceful in the far distance, caught the deep red hues, turning patches of the landscape into liquid copper. Golden grasslands stretching out in gentle waves beneath the ridge absorbed the waning light, transforming into fields of burnished gold and rust. Long, quiet shadows began to stretch across these plains, reaching out like slow, dark fingers, extending the day's final soft embrace to the land. The quiet beauty of this scene settled over the landscape, creating a profound sense of natural harmony as the light shifted. The elephant paused, its robust body becoming a still silhouette against the magnificent backdrop. Its broad ears, usually in a state of soft, rhythmic sway, remained almost motionless, catching the faintest shift in the cooling evening air. A deep, calm breath moved through its massive lungs, a slow, deliberate rhythm that resonated with the quiet vastness surrounding it. There was no urgency, no desire for further movement, only the simple act of standing, observing the majesty unfold. The heat of the day, which had warmed the earth for hours, now began its gentle retreat, carried away by soft breezes that whispered across the open spaces. This natural release of warmth brought a welcome freshness, a soothing transition as the day yielded to night. Its trunk, usually a tool for continuous exploration, curled softly, resting against its tusks, a gesture of quiet contentment. The animal stood as a silent witness to the daily ritual of the sun's descent, a timeless moment of rest after a long journey. The panoramic view invited a gentle contemplation, a silent acknowledgement of the cycle of time. Each shifting hue in the sky, each darkening shadow on the floodplain, contributed to a feeling of deep relaxation. The scene was a serene culmination, a peaceful ending to the day's slow drift through varied landscapes, from the shimmering salt pan to the rustling mopane. The air, now considerably cooler, carried faint, earthy scents from the distant wetlands, mingling with the subtle, lingering warmth rising from the ground around the ridge. These delicate fragrances added another layer to the sensory tapestry of the evening, creating an atmosphere of safety and comfort. The elephant's stance embodied stillness, a monument to the quiet progression of time, accepting the peaceful changes that twilight brought. The day had offered many wonders, from the golden breath of dawn to the copper light on the plain, and now it concluded with this breathtaking display of color. As the crimson and orange deepened, fading into purples and indigo at the highest reaches of the sky, a profound sense of gratitude seemed to settle over the quiet land. The beauty of this ending arrived gradually, without haste, a natural completion to the sun's journey across the sky. The distant floodplains blurred into a soft, indistinct tapestry under the diminishing light, becoming a canvas for the first faint glimmer of emerging stars. The elephant remained, absorbing the last vestiges of daylight, its presence a quiet testament to the enduring peace of the savannah. The approaching night promised its own gentle stillness, a comforting blanket ready to fall over the vast landscape. The soft transition with its cooling air and calming colors prepared the way for deeper rest, inviting a peaceful descent into the tranquility of the evening. Chapter 18. The last gleam of crimson had softened to a deep violet across the western sky, a gentle farewell to the sun's long journey. The elephant, having paused on the tranquil ridge, now began a slow, steady descent towards the murmuring river. Its massive form moved with a quiet grace down the familiar slopes, each slow, steady footstep stirring only the faintest whisper from the cooling earth. The air, which had held the lingering warmth of the day, now shifted, becoming infused with the cooler breath of evening, carrying faint, damp scents from the distant water. As the land gradually flattened, the elephant approached a hidden riverside terrace, a place where the ancient river had sculpted the banks over countless seasons. Here, a magnificent wild fig tree had rooted itself, its sprawling network of roots creating a natural architecture along the water's edge. These roots, thick and gnarled, spread across the ground like a sleeping serpent, forming sheltered nooks and gentle slopes. The remaining light, a delicate blend of soft blues and purples, filtered through the leaves of the fig tree, casting intricate and shifting patterns upon the root-laden earth. The elephant entered this shaded sanctuary, its broad ears occasionally twitching, sensing the subtle shifts in the surrounding air. The sounds of the day had receded, replaced by the hushed symphony of twilight. The river itself provided a constant, peaceful backdrop, its surface now a dark mirror reflecting the faint, ethereal glow of the darkening sky. Tiny, unseen currents created soft, repetitive lapping sounds against the roots and banks, a soothing rhythm that invited deep relaxation. With unhurried movements, the elephant began to explore this unique landscape. Its curling trunk softly reached out, testing the various textures of the fig roots. Some were smooth from years of erosion by water and air, while others retained a rough, bark-like skin. The pads of its feet registered the firmness of the earth woven between the roots, a stable and comforting foundation after the long day's travel. There was a faint, sweet aroma in the air, a blend of damp soil, the river's freshness, and perhaps the faint, unseen scent of ripening figs high in the canopy. The fading twilight deepened the sense of enclosure here beneath the venerable tree. The dense foliage of the fig created a natural ceiling, a canopy that held the quiet coolness of the evening air. The transition from day to night felt exceptionally gentle in this secluded spot. The vibrant colors of sunset had given way to a monochrome world of deepening shades, each tone blending seamlessly into the next. The world seemed to slow its pace, settling into a profound stillness as the last vestiges of daylight surrendered to the night. The elephant paused near the very edge of the terrace, lingering by rivers where the water moved with an almost silent grace. Reflections from the distant sky rippled gently on the dark surface, elongating and dissolving with each subtle movement of the current. It lowered its head, taking a long, calm drink from the refreshing river. The cool water was a welcome sensation, a final balm after the day's journey across the sun-drenched plains. Each sip was deliberate, unhurried, a quiet moment of replenishment as the world around it prepared for deep night. The intricate roots of the fig tree offered a tapestry of tactile sensations. The elephant's sensitive trunk brushed against a smooth, moss-covered section, then moved to a ridged, dry part, each contact a tiny exploration of its immediate world. It moved slowly between the larger roots, as if navigating a natural maze, discovering small patches of soft earth where new plants might emerge after the next rains. The roots were not obstacles, but rather invitations, shaping pathways and creating micro-environments within the larger riverside setting. As the soft blues of twilight deepened further into a rich, velvety purple, the first few stars began to prick the darkening canvas above the fig tree's crown. They appeared faintly at first, almost shy, then grew steadily brighter as the last traces of the sun vanished completely. The air grew noticeably cooler, a comforting shift that invited deeper breaths. The distant sounds of the savannah began to evolve. The daytime calls of birds were replaced by the delicate chirps of unseen crickets and the occasional soft rustle of nocturnal creatures beginning their own quiet journeys. The elephant spent a long, peaceful stretch beneath the embracing fig roots, its presence a quiet testament to the enduring rhythms of nature. There was no haste, no urgency, only the steady progression of time from day to night, marked by the ever-deepening hues of the sky and the settling of the cooler air. The ancient roots, spanning generations, provided a sense of continuity and shelter, a steadfast anchor in the vastness of the twilight landscape. This riverside terrace felt like a quiet clearing, a place for contemplation as the night unfolded. With a final gentle sigh, the elephant turned from the river, its attention shifting slightly. The intricate web of fig roots had offered a beautiful interlude, a moment of profound sensory immersion between the day's end and the full arrival of night. The tranquil atmosphere, the subtle sounds, and the fading light had all contributed to a deep sense of rest. It was now time to continue its unhurried journey, leaving the shadowed embrace of the ancient fig tree, moving deeper into the growing darkness, towards the beckoning silence of the quiet marsh. The night, still young, held new patterns and peaceful discoveries. Chapter 19. The last tendrils of twilight, which had painted soft blues and purples across the sky above the sprawling fig roots, now receded completely. Darkness embraced the landscape with a velvet cloak, drawing the vast expanse of the night sky closer to the earth. The air, cooled by the lingering evening, carried subtle shifts in fragrance as the elephant moved away from the riverside terrace. Its large, slow, steady footsteps carried it toward a new, open expanse where the ground grew softer beneath its weight. A tranquil marsh meadow unfolded ahead, distinct from any waterside setting the elephant had encountered throughout the long, warm summer day. Here, the land gently dipped, allowing shallow pools of still water to gather, mirroring the emerging constellations overhead. The starlight, faint yet constant, began to gleam across these scattered surfaces, creating countless tiny, shifting reflections that danced with a silent rhythm. Tall reeds, their slender stalks rising toward the serene night sky, stood in hushed clusters, their uppermost tips catching the pale luminescence of the distant stars. A gentle night ambience settled, filled with soft, unseen movements. The elephant's journey continued, its presence a calm force within this quiet marsh. With each deliberate step, its broad feet found the soft, damp earth, sometimes sinking just slightly into the cool, muddy floor of the meadow. The feeling of the water, barely covering the ground, was a soothing contrast to the drier paths it had walked earlier. Ripples, almost imperceptible, spread slowly from where its foot had rested, then vanished into the vast stillness of the surrounding pools. A deep relaxation settled over the scene. From within the dense reed beds, a delicate nighttime music began to play. Countless insects hidden from view contributed their tiny, rhythmic chirps and clicks to the quiet symphony. These sounds, familiar and comforting, echoed the story's beginning, yet they were woven into a completely new environmental tapestry, a testament to the cyclical nature of time. The soft rustling of the reeds, stirred by an occasional gentle breeze, added another layer to this peaceful soundscape, a whispered lullaby across the wide open marsh. The elephant's broad ears flapped slowly, gathering these subtle echoes of the night, processing them with an unhurried grace. As the elephant moved through reeds, its immense form passed between the swaying stalks, causing them to brush softly against its rough hide. The quiet clearings between the denser patches of vegetation offered momentary glimpses of the star-strewn sky. A shimmering canopy stretched from one horizon to the next. The air grew still, heavy with the scent of damp earth, decaying leaves, and the subtle, fresh aroma of aquatic plants. This quiet wilderness embraced the wandering open plains of the marsh, offering a sense of safe feeling that permeated the deep night. The elephant paused near a particularly wide, still pool, its trunk curling softly as it dipped the tip into the cool surface. A moment of absolute quiet seemed to descend, broken only by the continuous hum of the nocturnal insects. It lingered by rivers of starlight reflecting on the water, absorbing the visual comfort of the celestial display. This patient observation allowed the surrounding peaceful night to deepen its hold, weaving a sense of continuity from one tranquil moment to the next. The deep sleep that awaited felt closer with every unhurried breath the massive creature took. A sensation of familiarity washed over the quiet marsh, even though the location itself was new. The rhythm of the night, the chorus of unseen life, the cool touch of water, and the immense, quiet expanse of the stars above all spoke to an ancient, comforting cycle. The elephant was a part of this unfolding, its presence adding to the profound stillness. No urgency pressed it forward, rather a serene certainty guided its slow, steady footsteps. The journey was not a race, but a gentle drifting through savannah, each new sight and sound a quiet invitation to simply be. The starlight continued to reflect, not just in the water, but seemingly within the very fabric of the tranquil marsh. Reeds, even in the pervasive darkness, appeared to glow faintly with an inner light, outlining their soft forms against the velvet backdrop. The atmosphere was one of profound comfort, an enveloping calm that cradled the nocturnal rhythms as they returned to the land. The elephant, pausing under moonlight that wasn't moonlight but starlight, took in the silent nature surrounding it. Its entire being settled into the quiet predictability of the night, a silent guardian moving through a world softly illuminated by distant suns. The peaceful mind felt like a vast, open landscape under the same calm night sky. The deep relaxation extended to every rustle of leaves, every distant chirp, every subtle shift in the cool night air. The elephant, dozing near water in moments of quiet contemplation, seemed to absorb the immense calm that permeated the marsh meadow. The entire ecosystem around it breathed slowly, synchronously. This quiet journey through the marsh, beneath the expansive canvas of the stars, was a gentle affirmation of balance, a soft close to the active parts of the long summer day. The elephant's presence was a steady anchor in this peaceful wilderness, a symbol of enduring serenity as night fully claimed its space. The soft breathing of the land, mirrored in the unhurried progression of the giant, promised a restful transition toward new, gentle discoveries. Chapter 20. The elephant continued its slowly rhythmic progression from the tranquil marsh, where scattered pools had mirrored the vast expanse of stars. With gentle, deliberate steps, it traversed a final narrow stretch of cool, shallow water. The movement was barely a ripple, a soft parting of liquid beneath its massive feet, before reaching the dry, elevated ground of an island. This small, secluded haven emerged from the watery network, a place of stable earth, offering solid comfort after the day's varied terrain. The air, still holding the warmth of the summer, now felt subtly lighter, carrying only the faintest whisper of wind across the channels. Above, the moon had ascended to its zenith, a radiant orb casting a luminous silver sheen over everything. Its light, no longer fading or just returning, poured down from the vast, calm night sky, revealing the island's gentle contours. Every blade of grass, every sparse bush, held a delicate glow etched in hues of pale gray and shimmering white. The channels encircling this island refuge lay in perfect stillness, reflecting the moon and countless stars with an unwavering clarity that invited a sense of deep, peaceful contemplation. These waters seemed like a protective embrace, a silent barrier ensuring the island's quiet sanctity. The elephant walked slowly across the island's firm ground, its broad ears occasionally twitching, catching the far-off, muted sounds of the sleeping savannah. There was no urgency in its movements, only a gentle exploration of its chosen sanctuary. The dry earth beneath its heavy yet soft footsteps offered a welcoming texture, a subtle change from the dampness of the marsh. It passed by low, resilient shrubs, their leaves brushed with lunar silver, and a few scattered, sturdy trees whose branches formed graceful silhouettes against the brilliant backdrop of the calm celestial sphere. Each detail of this peaceful island contributed to a feeling of profound stability. A suitable clearing, shaded by the faint outlines of a larger gnarled tree, drew the elephant's attention. Here the ground was even and slightly warmer, having absorbed the day's heat and now releasing it slowly into the gentle night air. With a sigh that seemed to echo the quiet contentment of the surroundings, the elephant began to settle. Its great weight lowered gradually, a testament to the immense strength and calm presence it held. The soft rustle of dry leaves and grasses marked its descent, a natural sound that blended seamlessly into the gentle night ambience. The elephant rested, its vast form a dark, peaceful silhouette against the moonlit landscape. Its trunk, which had swayed gentle lie through the day, now curled softly towards its body, a habitual gesture of comfort and security. Calm breathing rose and fell, a steady rhythm that matched the quiet pulse of the sleeping land. The sensation of the cool, firm earth against its skin provided a profound sense of grounding, a deep connection to the enduring world. This island, in its solitude, offered a sanctuary where all the varied experiences of the long day could dissolve into a single, cohesive memory. Around the elephant, the quiet island expanse remained undisturbed. Only the occasional distant call of a nightbird or the faint hum of insects carried on the warm summer air, serving as a gentle reminder of the life that continued beyond this tranquil spot. These sounds, far from disturbing, contributed to the overall sense of deep relaxation, forming a natural, ambient melody. The elephant closed its eyes, though its awareness remained ever present, a deep, primal vigilance that blended with its profound state of rest. It was a testament to the feeling of safety that enveloped it completely. Memories of the day's long journey drifted slowly through its consciousness. The cool sands of the first moonlit rise, the soft whispers of reed shadows, the stillness of the secluded lagoon, and the quiet anticipation of the dawn. It recalled the golden breath of morning over dew-covered grasses, the fragrant shelter among acacia lanterns, and the winding path of amber dust. Each vivid impression, from the singing salt edge to the shade beside ancient stone, and the vibrant sense of the fragrant hollow, now coalesced into a unified, peaceful tapestry. The bright reflection of the midday mirror, the immense comfort found beneath the baobab crown, and the gentle sway of fields of seed under afternoon winds all contributed to this tapestry. The refreshing coolness of the stream crossing, the copper light on the open plain, and the deep, rich hues of evening over the mopane woodland had painted a varied yet harmonious picture. The crimson horizon rest, the fading twilight along the fig roots, and the return of starlight above the quiet marsh had each offered unique moments of calm and stillness. Now, on this moonlit island, they all found their place, settled and serene. The very air seemed to hold this accumulated peace. The summer night, so full of silent activity and gentle transitions, now offered a final, unwavering embrace. The elephant's slow breathing deepened further, a sign of its absolute surrender to the moment. It was truly at rest, anchored by the solid ground, sheltered by the high moon, and soothed by the calm channels that flowed so quietly around its temporary home. There was a profound comfort in this completion, this gentle circle of journey and rest. The vastness of the peaceful wilderness stretched beyond the island, but here, in this particular spot, a focused tranquility resided. The soft moonlight continued its steady illumination, bathing the elephant in its ethereal glow, a gentle blanket of silver. No single element felt out of place. Every sound, every shadow, every subtle shift in the night air contributed to a feeling of deep, unassailable stability. This was a moment of mind relaxation, a culmination of the elephant's slow progression through time and space. The concept of time itself seemed to dissolve in this silent, moon-drenched landscape. The journey of the past day, though long and filled with myriad experiences, now felt like a continuous, gentle flow, leading inevitably to this perfect moment of rest. There was a feeling of completion, a quiet satisfaction in having traversed such varied terrains, observed such changing lights, and now finding such a profound, peaceful mooring. The elephant, a majestic creature of the savannah, was a living embodiment of this enduring calm presence. Its large form, now completely still, was a picture of serene repose. The calm night sky watched over, an endless canopy sparkling with distant stars, each one a tiny point of unchanging light in the dark velvet. The nature ambience was a harmonious blend of rustling leaves, the distant croak of a frog, and the almost imperceptible movement of air. All these elements combined to create an atmosphere of unparalleled comfort, a refuge from any fleeting concern. The elephant was simply there, existing in perfect synchronicity with the quiet rhythms of the summer night. The sense of safety was absolute, a palpable presence on the secluded island. The still water channels reflecting the bright moonlight seemed to guard the edges of this peaceful sanctuary. The elephant was nestled beside the very heart of the land, finding solace and deep relaxation in its natural surroundings. There was nothing to disturb the profound stillness that had settled, like a fine dew, over the entire landscape. This was not merely the end of a day, but the quiet conclusion of a long and gentle journey, bringing with it a sense of profound and enduring peaceful rest. The warm nocturnal sky of Botswana in 1981 held this scene, timeless and serene. The elephant remained quiet and settled, its presence a testament to the enduring beauty of the wild and the calm cycles of life and rest. Under the high summer moon on its secluded island, surrounded by soft, life-flowing channels, the elephant had found its circle of peace. The journey was complete, for now, offering a final, gentle invitation to rest within the silent embrace of the night.